Hello friend, welcome to my channel. If you've never been here before, my name is Brooke Cormier and I am a professional artist. Today I am going to be talking about a topic that I think a lot of artists struggle with, but maybe not one that a lot of people talk about, at least I don't talk about it that often, and that is the topic of loneliness. I would like to share with you my experience with loneliness as a full-time artist, as well as some things I've implemented in my own life to help combat it. Being an artist or a creator of any kind often entails a fair bit of solitary work. And though I knew that being alone would inevitably be part of my job, I didn't really anticipate it as a problem when I chose to pursue a life as a painter. Because though I am quite extroverted, I also really appreciate my alone time. That being said, it was a stark change for me going from university, where I was constantly surrounded by friends, classmates, and roommates, to working full-time as a painter from my bedroom in my parents' house. The majority of my friends no longer lived close by, and though I have a great relationship with my parents and they make great friends and roommates, I felt that the majority of my social interactions came to a screeching halt. My dad had graciously helped turn half of my bedroom into a little art studio, which I was very fortunate to have, but unfortunately it didn't really give me a lot of that work-life separation. I'd basically roll out of my bed in the morning, right into my studio chair, and then take the 2-second commute back to my bed in the evening with, other stuff in between, like eating and pooping and stuff. And that was my life for 2 years. I don't mean to sound super dramatic or anything. I still saw friends, went on vacation, had fun in my life, and a lot of great things happened during those 2 years, including starting a solid foundation for my art business. And there are a lot of good things that come with working alone, It's a lot of time that you sit with yourself and you look inward and you really get to know this person up in here, But the solitude was certainly getting to me. A common theme for me being left alone with my thoughts day in and day out was to imagine scenarios in which my life totally falls apart. How wonderful. I get all these intrusive thoughts and then just completely spiral, and I never really talk to anybody about it. I guess it just kind of fit the brand of being like the tortured artist. My inner saboteur was hard at work, and I wasn't really taking any steps to help myself. And then I decided to do something crazy, and in January 2019, I moved out of my parents' house in Pickering, Ontario, across the world and into the apartment of my Austrian love.
What an exciting time.
But after a couple months of getting settled into my new Viennese life and back into the swing of painting, my solitude seemed to be amplified. I was back to working from home alone all day, this time in a foreign-speaking country, thousands of miles away from my friends and family. I was having a hard time meeting new people because I was spending all this time at home, and I managed to make some really great friends through my partner, but I feel like I lacked a community of my own. My partner could see that I was struggling, and at the time I was definitely relying too much on him for all of my social interactions, and he was the one who really encouraged me to find a studio space away from home. And with some reluctance, because sometimes we don't like to help ourselves, I eventually did. 'Twas a game changer! I shared a giant 2-floor studio with about 25 other artists from all over the world, and honestly, it made a huge difference in my life. I would ride my bike to the studio every day, more exercise, be surrounded by all kinds of art, have interesting conversations, play the occasional chess game, laugh a lot, and just
feel inspired.
And honestly, it was a really productive time for me too. I was getting more work done and feeling more motivated. For the first time, I really had not only this creative community, but a really defined and healthy work-life balance and separation. I'm not saying that in order for you to have these things, you need to join a studio in a beautiful European city. I realize that that is not a luxury that everybody can have. In fact, I am back to working from my apartment again since moving back to Toronto a couple years ago because the studio spaces here are a little bit too pricey for me. But now I'm beginning to find other ways to deal with the loneliness of artist life. And here are a few ways I'm doing that. I am making more of an effort to see my friends on a more regular basis, not just on weekends, but during the week after working hours. I'm really taking the time to schedule this into my weekly routine. For example, this winter I played pickleball every Monday night with my partner and my sister and her wife, and then every Thursday night, my friends and I would get together and watch The Bachelor together.
I love reality TV.
I also just made plans to have friends over for dinner here and there. And yeah. Another way is finding friends who also work from home and then meeting up with them in a cafe to work. Now, this isn't always possible because obviously I can't bring my easel and painting supplies into a cafe, but if I find that I have a lot of computer work to do, like answering emails or writing a YouTube script, then this is the perfect opportunity to do so in a nicer change of scenery with the company of a pal. Another way is going to fitness classes. I try to go to yoga at least 2 times a week, and recently I've been taking beginner dance courses just for fun. And some days this is the only interaction that I have with other people other than, you know, my partner who lives with me. It's nice to exercise with other people, even if you're not conversing that much. There's actually a ton of research out there that proves that these daily, casual, kind of micro interactions, so people that you don't really know or people who you're just acquaintances with, results in a higher sense of belonging and overall boost in happiness. So that might be a friendly interaction with the barista at your favorite coffee shop, or saying thank you to your yoga teacher after a great class, or complimenting your neighbor on their garden. I try and keep the importance of these interactions in mind when I am out of the house and out of the studio. Another way I deal with loneliness is having phone calls with loved ones, especially who don't live close by. For me, some of the closest people in my life are the ones that live the farthest away, so it's really nice to have a phone call conversation every once in a while to catch up. I have a bit of texting anxiety and find it hard to keep on top of all the conversations on all the different digital messaging platforms, so an old-fashioned phone call really hits home for me. I always feel good after, and it reminds me that I have people in my life who care about me, and that's really a nice thing when you're feeling lonely. I also like to listen to podcasts or audiobooks when I paint. Sometimes when I feel like I'm too caught up in my thoughts, it's nice to just let somebody else do the talking. You can listen to an interesting story, learn something new on a podcast. You know, sometimes I listen to funny podcasts that I can just like laugh along with other people, and that really helps me not feel so lonesome. And the last way that I combat loneliness is by finding a community of people who are in the exact same boat as me. That being the lonely artist's life. I had the crazy opportunity at the beginning of April to attend an event called Creator Camp in Utah, in the largest log cabin in the United States of America. The goal of this event, founded by Chris, Simon, Max, and Ryan, I'll link their channels below, was to bring together a community of creators for a weekend of adventure and connection and inspiration. After receiving the invitation, I was very hesitant to go because A, I live far away from Utah and a flight from Toronto to Salt Lake City ain't cheap. And B, I literally didn't know anybody there, and going away for a weekend with a bunch of strangers was
Quite out of my comfort zone.
But this topic or issue of loneliness had been on my mind. It's something that I was discussing with my friend Steve, who's also a self-employed creator. I'll also link his channel below, he's super talented. And he was the one who actually got the invitation in the first place, but because he couldn't go, he kind of passed it along to me because he thought it would be good for me. So after some days of contemplation, I thought, what the heck? I'm gonna do it. What's the worst thing that could go wrong other than being sucked into a cult or murdered in the Utah wilderness? Luckily, Murphy's Law did not apply here, and it was actually a fantastic experience. I spent the whole weekend connecting with artists and poets and
Musicians and filmmakers and storytellers and podcasters and entrepreneurs and you name it, they got it.
just so many talented people passionate about the work that they're doing. Even though I just met these people, I feel like over the course of the weekend I made some really great new friends, and I left feeling inspired and not alone. I know I won't be able to see these new friends all the time because we're from all over the world, but I really feel like I found a community of people who understand the isolation aspect of being an artist or a creator and who are actually doing things to try and change that. And the crazy thing is that this whole thing came about just by reaching out to people online, which is something that anybody can do. Maybe you're in a situation where it's hard for you to make time to see other people or to meet new people. And in this case, having an online community can really help combat loneliness and give you these feelings of connection with others. And that there is one of the beautiful things about the internet. I understand that this video will not resonate with everybody out there. I know a lot of people thrive in situations where they're often alone, but I think that to an extent, everybody needs human connection, and that can be hard to find sometimes when you're always in this isolated working environment. And if you do resonate with this video and you are feeling lonely, then just know that you're not alone. I hope that by sharing some of the ways that I deal with loneliness as an artist can help you do the same. Sometimes it's not easy to take the steps to help yourself when you're struggling, but it is always worth it in the end. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any tips on dealing with loneliness and what you do to help yourself with that, then leave it in the comments. I would love to read it. I think we can all learn from each other in these situations, you know? Please subscribe to my channel if you want to. If you likey, give it a thumbs up perhaps. Why not? You can do it for free. I always say it doesn't cost a single thing to do that, and it really helps me out, so I would appreciate it a lot, actually. I hope you're having a great day. I hope that wherever you are in the world, the sun is shining. If it's not shining, then the sun'll come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. I'm Brooke Cormier, and I'll see you next time. Tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, it's only a day away. Nailed it.